In 1966, a controversy arose that led to radio stations across the U.S. to ban music by the Beatles from their airwaves. While most radio stations didn't ban the Beatles, the ones that did received a great deal of publicity, and the controversy ended up threatening the group's 1966 U.S. tour, making the Fab Four fear for their lives, and leading many observers to wonder if this was the beginning of the end for the Beatles. The first station to ban the Beatles as a result of this controversy was WAQY, or Wacky Radio, in Birmingham, Alabama on July 28, 1966. By August 2nd, 2 additional stations were reported to have joined the ban. By August 3rd, August 4th, August 5th, August 6th, August 7th, and by August 8th. When all was said and done, at least 140 radio stations banned the Beatles. Let's learn more about a station in Texas that yanked the Fab Four off their airwaves. This is the curious case of KLUE, or KLUE. KLUE was a radio station in the city of Longview, situated in northeast Texas. It was actually 2 stations, an AM and an FM. They were co-owned with KMHT in nearby Marshall, Texas, about 23 miles east of Longview. In July 1966, a teen magazine reprinted an interview with John Lennon from an English newspaper in which he said this: "Christianity will go. It will vanish and shrink. I needn't argue about that. I'm right, and I'll be proved right. We are more popular than Jesus now. I don't know which will go first, rock and roll or Christianity. Jesus was all right, but his disciples were thick and ordinary. It's them twisting it that ruins it for me." A radio station in Birmingham, Alabama was outraged by the comments and banned the Beatles from their airwaves. Additionally, they also announced that they would be collecting Beatles albums and memorabilia from listeners and would burn the lot of it at a later date. Their announcement was widely covered by newspapers across the country, so more stations decided to follow suit with their own bans of the Beatles, and in some cases their own bonfires of Beatles material. On August 2nd, 1966, KLUE announced that they too would ban the Beatles. One of the managers of KLUE's sister station KMHT declared, "I think we should have banned the records years ago in the interest of good music." Staff at KLUE thought that the ban was going to cause significant damage to the Beatles. One station official told a reporter, "The word Beatle may soon again simply refer to the insect in this country." The officials said that KLUE had seen remarkable support for their efforts, including money. "We have received checks and offers of checks from businessmen who want to help with the project," he stated. "Of course, we can't accept donations of money, but we do appreciate their backing." In addition to the business community, he claimed support from Beatles fans themselves. The report said that the local fan club had told the station, tearfully, that they were donating all club paraphernalia for the bonfire. However, not all Beatles supporters were in favor of KLUE's ban, tearfully or otherwise. KLUE's building was vandalized by Fab Four fans. According to local reports, a pro-Beatle group attacked KLUE with paintbrushes after hours and painted the inscription, "Yay Beatles," along with several obscene remarks on the station's outside walls. The article went on to suggest a West Side Story situation was brewing for the following Friday night when pro-Beatle groups were planning on demonstrating in support of the Beatles, while a large number of Ban the Beatles fans will also be on hand. On Friday, August 12th, KLUE held their bonfire. Earlier that day, the Longview Daily News reported, "Former Beatles fans of Longview and the East Texas area are expected to gather at KLUE radio station at the intersection of Highway 149 and FM Road 1845 in Longview tonight to burn thousands of records and other symbols of Beatlemania. The kids are still calling and are planning to come to the bonfire tonight, rain or no rain," said Program Director Mike Mitchell at noon today. To further support our stand against the statements of John Lennon that the Beatles are more popular than Jesus, we have investigated and gathered more evidence to substantiate our belief that he did indeed make the marks attributed to him. Mitchell quoted a 1964 article in a popular magazine as saying that the rude, profane, and vulgar boys from Liverpool are so anti-Christ that they shock other persons claiming to be anti-Christ also. That wasn't just hyperbole by Mitchell. 2 years previously, the Fab Four press officer Derek Taylor told the Saturday Evening Post, "Here are these 4 boys from Liverpool. They're rude, they're profane, they're vulgar, and they've taken over the world. It's as if they founded a new religion. They're completely anti-Christ. I mean, I'm anti-Christ as well, but they're so anti-Christ, they shock me." It's a quote that has been cited perennially since it was published by religiously motivated Beatles haters as proof of the offensiveness of the band and their music. Additionally, according to KLUE news director Phil Ransom, Lennon's second book, A Spaniard in the Works, contained anti-Christian comments that would make the godless Russian leaders blush. This comment, along with the previous reference to the Saturday Evening Post article, suggests that CLUE's staff had read anti-Beatles information that had been circulating among hardline religious groups. For example, this opinion column from Virginia presented a quote from A Spaniard in the Works, as well as the Saturday Evening Post quotes, and another from Playboy as a dossier on the Beatles' supposed anti-Christian bias. The opinion writer in Lynchburg, Virginia, was taking advantage of the more popular than Jesus controversy to promote his agenda. He sincerely hoped that his local radio station would soon learn that they should discontinue playing Beatle records. Also, he hoped, those places selling the records and books would see fit to destroy their stock and take a loss for the benefit of all young people. He believed that the Beatles have done more to destroy the sanity of our young people than any other one thing in the history of this country. Among other things, he faulted the Beatles for inspiring boys to want to look more like girls instead of young men. Of course, this opinion writer also wrote to the National Park Service to complain about a sign declaring that a national park was not segregated, and he blamed the Park Service's policy on a bunch of Jews and liberals who were ruining Washington and the U.S. South. This doesn't have anything to do with the Beatles, but at least we know what cesspools some of the Beatles' haters were swimming in. When the Beatles arrived in the U.S. for their 1966 tour, Lennon made an apology for his controversial comments at a press conference in Chicago. I'm sorry I said it, really," he said. "I never meant it as a lousy anti-religious thing." The folks at CLUE, however, were unswayed by this apology, airing a subsequent editorial stating that it was a poor attempt at reconciling the group from further antagonism. At CLUE's bonfire, according to the Longview Daily News, Beatle-burning teenagers, joined by a surprising number of adults, turned a huge pile of Beatle lore, records, and pictures into a pile of ashes near the radio station CLUE Tower Friday night. Donna Woods of Longview volunteered to set flame to the big pile and came away with a smile. City Police Captain Jack Gatlin reported that cars parked in the vicinity of the radio station south of the city were so snarled it took more than an hour for the drivers to manipulate tight turns and clear the area. An estimated 1,000 youngsters and adults crowded around the big blaze, and another 2,000 or 3,000 cruised past the point in cars. A surprising aspect was that most spectators gathered around the big fire without a word. Those dedicated to showing the Beatles crew the back of their hands remained calm and collected as flames seared the pile of record albums and pictures. "It's a smash," one youth remarked quietly as heat from the fire warmed his face. "There isn't anyone or anything as popular as those Beatles think they are." Tony Bridge, station owner, joined the campaign along with his staff members. He, too, was one of the spectators Friday evening. Lowell Wolf, station manager, aided Miss Woods at the bonfire, spreading kerosene on the pile. A report on the bonfire in the Shreveport Journal added, about 7,500 youngsters watched as a 25-foot pile of lumber, Beatles records, and Beatle paraphernalia went up in flames and smoke. About 150 of the teenagers at the bonfire said they still remain true to the popular music group. But the reputation of the Beatles in some circles had diminished enough that a local movie theater in Longview ran a newspaper ad for a Herman's Hermits movie with the text, "Ex-Beatle fans, come join our club." But something curious happened to CLUE the day after they burned records by the Beatles. According to the Longview Daily News, "CLUE was knocked off the air when a bolt of lightning struck the tall transmission tower." Lowell Wolf, manager, said Phil Ransom, news director, was knocked unconscious when the lightning coursed into the building and was rushed to Good Shepherd Hospital. He said Ransom regained consciousness shortly afterward and was believed in good condition. Wolf said the lightning caused extensive damage to radio equipment, but it was hoped the station would resume regular broadcasts that day. Maybe the destructive lightning was a complete coincidence. Maybe God was displeased by CLUE's actions burning the Beatles. Or maybe it had nothing to do with the Beatles and had to do with advertisements like this one. Under the header, "How to Make Love to Your Wife," CLUE told husbands, "Tomorrow morning, before you leave for the office, set her radio dial to CLUE. She'll enjoy our more music, less gab policy. So don't be surprised if you find candles on the dinner table. Expect them."